Hello and welcome, our listeners who are watching and listening to our podcast, The Global Smart Cities. Today, my guest is Mr. John Wilkie, Vice President of Community Operations at the Linux Foundation. Hello, Mr. John.
Delighted to be here, Selma.
We are so pleasure for having you here. Mr. John, let's start the first question about the smart cities. Nowadays, governments and administrations are focusing on transformation cities into smart cities by leveraging technologies such as AI, machine learning, blockchain technology, Internet of Things, and etc. etc. So, how do you perceive this rapid transformation happening worldwide?
So there's quite a number of
Mm,
major digital transformations happening in the world today. As the technologies are improving, we're starting to see um, first AI brings a whole set of new capabilities and possibilities, but also risks. We should spend a couple of minutes talking about the
yeah.
risks around AI. But we also are collecting a tremendous amount of data through AI, through IoT, through sensors, both in the streets and cameras, and so the transformation as we start to maybe bring more safety to our cities and sustainability, um, hopefully more efficiency to our cities. Those capabilities they come with ethical questions, and I
Mm,
think there's a balance between being a technologist
mm,
and understanding how the technologies get implemented and used in the real world. And so we have to find the right balance. I think
mm,
as technology leaders, we have a responsibility to work with our city leaders,
mm.
work with the communities that we operate in, because it's not just technology, right? Technology can solve many problems, but we have to do it in an ethical way.
Yeah.
And so there's a balance between um, applying technology just because we can, a technology that really can help society. And we know around the world that question is different, right? So
Yeah.
the right way to do building a smart technology in one part of the world is going to be different, in Europe or in the United States or in Asia Pacific. We have to make sure that we're representative across all of those different areas. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So, how do you envision technology, especially open source solutions, contributing to the sustainable development of smart cities? And how will these developments help improve the quality of life of people?
Yeah, so I love to talk about open source.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
work for the Linux Foundation and I
yeah,
love to talk about open source. So let's explore some of those technologies for a minute that really can lead to sustainability.
mm,
So we have the Hyperledger Foundation. So they're building blockchain technologies. A number
right.
of projects in the Hyperledger Foundation that are helping with digital identity,
Hmm.
right? So helping um, as we move through, whether it's passports or airports or you know public transportation, or when you go to the municipality and say, I want some services,
Hmm.
tracking who that person is becomes really important. And so we can build
Exactly.
blockchain and digital identities around it. So that's a great example of how we can sort of share at an open source level across not just New York or Riyadh or Sao Paulo. There's opportunity to do it around the world,
Worldwide, yeah.
worldwide. So another technology that might be of interest is around AI. So we're building models today with PyTorch. So the PyTorch Foundation and the Linux Foundation has AI and data. We've got a number of projects in that space, all of which, some of which are, we talked a little bit about AI ethics. And so when we want to do sustainable solutions, we also have to measure the ethical parts of that. And then we also have to be careful about costs,
Mm,
because every city, we spend a lot of money. We raise taxes and from the governments to invest in these projects, and we have to be good stewards of the public's money. And so when we can share technologies across the world, and we build a solution in one city that's maybe applicable to many other cities. So I think sharing and collaboration becomes really important. And open source is a great way to do that.
So, as an esteemed member of the global tech founder industry, you would be part of several integral projects happening around the world. Could you please share insights into the inspiring smart city project or initiatives that you have either worked or recently come across?
Sure. I told an interesting story on stage, and I think I should tell a longer
You
story
have to.
around it. So we were doing a project with in Chicago, and
Yeah.
this particular project was we're building an AI model to track cars in a queue, or I want to track traffic throughout the city, and our model was wrong, was coming out with bad data, and we were very confused. It was making hallucinations, as a term now in
Yeah.
the AI world. It was hallucinating about what it saw, and as we started to do validation on our model, we realized that it was wintertime in Chicago, and there was a lot of piles of snow,
Yeah.
and snow piles look like white cars
Uh huh. Okay.
because we didn't have a good data set. And so we had to retrain our model with, like, here are white cars, here's a white van, this is a snow pile. And that snow pile is not a car
Mm.
because the snow piles were, we kept saying we're counting way more cars
Yeah.
than the model, than was actually in reality. And it's because we didn't have a good data set. And so it was a great example of us having to go back and retrain and improve our models. I think the lesson there is you can't just build a model and say, here it is, it
Mm.
works great. Well, in the real world, you have to test it, you have to
Mm.
validate it, you have to make sure that when we build a model in one city, it also is applicable to other parts of the world too. So what we think is a valid model in Chicago is maybe not a valid model in Riyadh. So we have to sort of make
Exactly.
sure.
Awesome. Mr. Walkie, in your opinion, what is the formula for the success of smart city development initiative, and what specific metrics or indicators do you find essential in assessing the impact and effectiveness of a smart city project?
That's a great question. Collaboration absolutely needs to be
Mhm.
the one of the success metrics. And we also know, so when I it's not just technology, it's working with the city government, it's working
Mm.
with the citizens and the community, because the community is going to ultimately have to be a part of the solution and part of the equation. And when you bring in more people, more opinions, diverse perspectives of what's appropriate. So a success factor is not like, oh, look, technology is perfect. It's technology is only a vehicle to solve problems. So we want to work with the community,
Mm.
work with our city leaders, work with the technology
Yeah.
professionals, and work with the industry to really bring together a holistic solution. And that becomes really important because we can build the greatest technology that's refused by the community, and it goes nowhere.
The last question. Now we are in the Global Smart Cities Forum, where all governments, leaders, companies, and technology are here in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi
Mm-hmm.
Arabia. What you've seen here in the forum attendees, the forum, the vibes.
I'm quite excited. When I arrived this morning, I was really excited by the expedition hall and the keynotes.
Mm.
I happened to spend some time in a panel with some esteemed colleagues of mine. We started to build, have the conversation on, together, right, as a global community, and that's one of the best parts about this event is it's pulling leadership from all around the world
Mm.
coming together. I'm having the conversation here with you,
Thank you.
uh,
It's my pleasure.
and just to look around the booth and the
Yeah.
conversations that are happening and the connections that are being formed. I've easily gotten 25 new invitations to
Mm.
continue collaboration into the future. So that's the most important reason I'm here.
Thank you. And we want to see you again, Mr. John. Mr. John Walkie, thank you for your time. And it was a pleasure having you here with us.
Delighted to be here.
Our listeners, thank you for watching our episode with Mr. John Wellicky, Vice President of Community Operations at the Linux Foundation. See you in the next episode.